flattered and honored and inspired. It has been a whirlwind 24 hours since we arrived, and I very quickly got the memo that I need to wear more color so I can fit into all of your incredible fashion. So I'm very overwhelmed. So I want to start by saying thank you very much for just how gracious you've all been in welcoming my husband and I to this country, my country. When I had done the genealogy and found out about my heritage, the first thing I did obviously was call my mom because I wanted to know if she had any awareness of it. And I think being African American, part of it is really not knowing so much about your lineage and background, where you come from specifically, and it was exciting for both of us to discover more and understand what that really means. Never in a million years would I understand it as much as I do now.
Being here, right?
Being here. And what's been echoed so much really in the past day by men and women alike is, oh, we weren't surprised when we found out that you were Nigerian. No. And I say that mostly as a compliment to all of you because what they define as a Nigerian woman is brave, resilient, courageous, powerful, beautiful. And every single moment that I hear anyone so far talk about what it means to be a Nigerian woman, it is the most flattering thing to be in that company, to be in your company. So, yes, it's been really eye-opening and humbling to be able to know more about my heritage and to be able to know this is just the beginning of that discovery.
We're going to have to leave our Nigerian name, right? So let's start thinking about what our name is going to be. Well, I'm going to go for Omowale. You're going to have all the different tribes.
Well, firstly, thank you all.
In 2021, when Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala was named the first African and first woman to lead the World Trade Organization, Prince Harry and Meghan wrote her profile for Time 100. During the Nigerian visit, the Duchess of Sussex joined Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, Director General of the World Trade Organization, for an event celebrating female leaders in Abuja. Addressing a room of 50 women from across Nigerian society, politics, business, media and culture, the Duchess and Dr. Okonjo-Iweala touched on the importance of female leadership and empowerment in driving positive change globally. The Duchess her vision for future generations and the power of representation. Representation matters tremendously. You need to see it to believe it. That starts when you're very young. I often find that whatever travels I've done, regardless if it's Nigeria or another country around the world, oftentimes when women reach the peak of success, they leave. But you need to come back home. You need to at least be a familiar face for the next generation to say, oh, she looks like me, and I can be that. You still always want to come back home because that's how you're going to help shift any sort of generational pattern that might be stifling, especially for young girls who need to see someone who looks like them in that same position. Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex.
That I would have wanted, I often think back to my 15-year-old self.
What if you were talking to your younger self?
Talking to your younger self, what do you want to hear? Well, stay as brave. If I was talking to my 15-year-old self, I would say one thing that young adults have that we often lose as we get older is that same risk-taking and fearlessness. We get older, we have more to lose. So sadly, we often become smaller, not in our ambition, but in our risk, right? And so the 15-year-old self, you go, oh, I'll do that. Yeah, why not? I'll do that. And so I think to say to that young person, don't ever lose that. Don't lose that fearlessness. Life can be very scary, and there can be twists and turns all the time. And of course, you always want to be smart, and you always want to be safe, and you always want to be cautious in the choices that you take. But you don't want to put yourself in a position where you're smaller than you should be, right? And so I think so much of it is really just giving yourself permission to take up the space that you deserve because you know your worth. And that is something that
I think knowing your worth is
knowing your worth is just so key. Knowing your value, the moment that you shrink, everything around you shrinks.
Speaking to her time both as Nigeria's Minister of Finance and Foreign Minister, as well as her role as Managing Director of the World Bank and current role with WTO, Dr. Okonjo-Iweala discussed the importance of mentorship and the wisdom she has gained from both men and women around the world. Meghan has always championed the need for more diversity on television. The casting of Meghan, who is biracial, has Rachel contributed to a transformation in how pop culture defines beauty by making such a decision. The duo concluded their chat with a brief Q&A, expressing the need for women to support one another, both professionally and personally, across all levels. Women in Africa have been called on to lead. African women's empowerment is focused on empowering next generation of leaders, elevating and building the community, no gender wars, just women and men working together. The impact of Duchess Meghan's work supporting women. Before becoming a royal, Meghan Markle was an advocate for women in leadership, Ambassador United Nations Women. Meghan platformed women in political leadership, advocating for women's voices at seat of decision-making. This speech got her a standing ovation from the UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon and several global leaders who were present. Meghan became a global ambassador for World Vision in Rwanda 2016, visiting the Kabeza borehole, which provides clean water to 1,000 people in the surrounding areas. Clean water breaks the cycle of poverty. Meghan was the brains behind a fundraiser cookbook for survivors of the Grenfell Tower fire in London, funding a community kitchen serving 200 meals a day. Duchess Meghan visited Morocco to inspire young girls from disadvantaged backgrounds to pursue education and to support families educating girl children. The Duchess fight for justice against British tabloids. Winning the human rights case against the Daily Mail, Meghan demonstrated that women should never be afraid to stand up for the truth and what is right. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up or one-time super chat or super thanks donation.